Ladies and gentlemen, the Minnesota Sports Awards will resume in 5 minutes.
That the freckles in our eyes are mirror images, and when we kiss they're perfectly aligned. I have to speculate that God himself did make us into corresponding shapes like puzzle pieces from clay. True, it may seem like it's strange, but it's thoughts like this that catch my troubled head when you're away, when I am missing you today. When you're out there on the road for several weeks and shows, and when you scan the radio, I hope this song will guide you home. They will see us waving from sides, great heights. Calm down now. They say everything looks perfect from far away. Calm down now. We'll stay. This all on your machine. On your machine. Beating, sounded thin upon the Sunday night. And frankly, will not fly. You will hear the shrillest highs and lowest slow when the window's down and this is guiding you. They will see us waving from sides, great heights. Calm down now. You say everything looks perfect from far away. Calm down now. We'll stay. I'm thinking it's a sign that the freckles in our eyes are mirror images, and when we kiss they're perfectly aligned. They will see us waving from sides, great heights. Calm down now. They say everything looks perfect from far away. Calm down now. We'll stay. Everything looks perfect from far away. Calm down now. We'll stay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our hosts for the 2019 Minnesota Sports Awards, Leah B. Olson and Anthony LaPanta.
Hello, everyone. Here we are again at the third annual Minnesota Sports Awards presented by Sports Minneapolis. I'm loving this tradition of gathering enthusiasts and players, coaches, and media together for one evening to celebrate everything we love about sports and to honor our top performers.
I couldn't agree more. This event comes together because Sports Minneapolis, the sports marketing arm of Meet Minneapolis, they, along with their partners, are responsible for bringing world-class national sports events to our state, like the Super Bowl, the Final Four, the X Games, and much more. Here's a quick look at Sports Minneapolis.
Sports Minneapolis. Who are we? We are the National Sports Commission of the Year, responsible for bringing sporting events from mini to mega to our region. Like the athletes who compete here, what we do takes passion, commitment, and teamwork. Because events like the Super Bowl, Final Four, CONCACAF Gold Cup, or X Games don't just land in our stadiums and arenas. Why do we do it? The sporting events we attract, the competitions we hold, and the trophies that are hoisted here, they put our region in the spotlight. These athletes and fans and visitors, they spend money while they're here. Money that supports local workers and generates additional tax dollars, which is a win for our community. How do we make it happen? We sell it. We are a city built for and by sports lovers. With world-class sporting venues, amenities, and attractions, we have strong partnerships and relationships, and a history of successful event execution. Most of all, we are a community that delivers world-class fan experiences with the most enthusiastic volunteers on the entire planet. Together, with our local partners, we compete for attention, respect, talent, and our share of the growing sports business market. The result? We've earned a national credibility as a proven championship caliber host city and region, and it's just the beginning. We're not stopping. Who are we? We are Sports Minneapolis.
All right. Please welcome the president and CEO of Meet Minneapolis and the executive director of Sports Minneapolis, Melvin Tennant.
Thank you, Anthony.
Hi,
Thank
Melvin.
you, Leah.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Leah. How's everybody doing tonight? Very good. On behalf of the Sports Minneapolis team and our partners and our sponsors, we just want to thank you all for being here tonight. And Leah, Anthony, thank you for being our host again for our third annual event. This is a great night. I want to just say also a little shout out to all the team from Sports Minneapolis and Meet Minneapolis that made this evening possible. Please join me in thanking the staff of Meet Minneapolis and Sports Minneapolis. You know, perhaps you noticed that the voice on that video was that of Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. You know, he was the first chair of our Sports Minneapolis organization, and he's still active within our board today, even though he's got that new job of that mayor thing going. But our new chair, I'm very excited about that, is Erica Binger. I know she's here tonight with V3 Sports. Thank you for being here. She's put a lot of energy, absolutely, thank you. Thank you. She's put a lot of energy and passion into her role over the past year, and we're extremely grateful for her many contributions to the organization. And frankly, all of the advisory board has done a wonderful job. We've had a very, very busy year. We'd also like to make sure that our advisory board members, such as all of the professional sports teams, some of our largest corporations here in town, we certainly want to appreciate all of the great work that they've done to help the Sports Minneapolis enterprise continue. You know, in that video that you just saw, it was a great video, Mayor Frey mentioned an important award that we in our region recently earned. We were named the National Sports Commission of the Year by our leading industry organization, representing markets of 500,000 and greater. I think that deserves a great round of applause as well, because a lot of people made that happen. You know, it's really an impressive honor that fits nicely with what we're celebrating right here tonight. We're celebrating terrific sports achievements and making a positive impact in our community at all levels. You know, whenever Minnesota hosts sporting events, We are consistently impressing not only the country but the entire world with our fans, our venues, and our hospitality. For example, world-class marathons, the Super Bowl, or various NCAA championships like the men's Final Four, and also women's volleyball, which we hosted in our city last year. And coming soon, NCAA wrestling and cross-country ski World Cup in 2020, and the NCAA Women's Final Four in 2022, which is a wonderful event because it'll be the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Title IX. So we, along with our partners, represent the region and our state with great pride. So I'm delighted that we can take this one night to bring us all together from our different sports, our different roles, and different ages to honor and share the joy that great Minnesota sports performances bring to all of us. So Leah and Anthony, thank you again for serving as our hosts for this evening. Shall we start to bring out more of tonight's award winners?
Let's do it.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank
much, Melvin.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of thanks to Melvin Tennant and Sports Minneapolis. Well, everyone, this year we have more awards to present than ever before, which means we have many great stories to share and people to meet. So we're going to keep things moving here, starting with our high school athletes. This award, presented by the Mall of America, goes to athletes who set the highest standard for excellence in their sport and in their contributions to the community during the 2018-19 athletic season. We'll begin with the Female High School Athlete of the Year.
Our first finalist is Cece Bolby, a hockey player from Edina High School, who was a key factor in the Hornets capturing 3 consecutive Class 2A championships. She was a finalist for the 2019 Ms. Hockey Award and a 2019 All-State Forward. Off the ice, Cece volunteered at Feed My Starving Children and served as a peer tutor. Today she plays hockey at Dartmouth College.
Our next finalist is a 3-sport athlete. Erica Butte from Alden Conjure High School led the Knights as a standout performer in volleyball, basketball, and softball. On the volleyball court, Erica was a 6-year starter and 3-year captain. In basketball, she was a 5-year starter as a point guard. And on the softball diamond, she was a 4-year starter and earned 3 all-conference honors. Erica was valedictorian of her graduating class and served as student council president. She is currently a volleyball player at Augustana University.
And our third finalist is Shalisa Jones, a track star for North St. Paul High School. As a junior last year, she won a collection of state track titles, owns a bevy of school records. In November, she signed a national letter of intent to continue her education and her track career at North Carolina A&T State University. Off the track, Shalisa has volunteered with Piercing Faith Church and St. Paul Public Housing and has served as an avid mentor in her school.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. And this year's Female High School Athlete of the Year is from Alden Conjure High School, Erica Butte. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you, Erica. But before we hear from you, let's take a second to look at your sports and academic accomplishments.
Erica Butte excelled in volleyball, basketball, and softball at Alden Conjure High School. As a 6-year starter for the varsity volleyball team, she holds the school's record in assists, digs, and service aces. In her senior year, she led the team to a conference championship and a 25-4 record. Erica was also a 5-year starter for Alden Conjure's basketball team and was named All-Conference for 4 years. She holds the school's records in scoring with over 2,300 career points. She's also the school's all-time leader in rebounding, assists, and steals. On the diamond, Erica was a star pitcher, where she was a 4-year starter and 3-time All-Conference performer. Away from the team, Erica spends time as a coach and referee for youth volleyball, softball, and basketball programs. She was the valedictorian of her class, a member of the National Honor Society, and president of her class. Erica is now a freshman volleyball player at Augustana University.
Here you go, Erica. Hand you that. So, Erica, I'm so impressed that you're were a three-sport athlete in high school. And tell us what that was like for you. And were you always interested in being involved in a lot of things?
It was definitely crazy. I remember, I would get done with basketball practice at 5:30. I would drive an hour and 20 minutes to Burnsville, where I'd have 2 hours of club volleyball practice, go home, do homework, and then do it all over again. But I loved it. People are like, oh, do you ever get sick of it? And I was like, no, I would do it again.
I love it.
Crazy, and yet with all the time that was required for your athletics, you graduated as the valedictorian in your class. That's quite an achievement.
Yeah, it was tough. I spent a lot of late nights studying, but I don't know, I just wanted to be.
I want to be valedictorian too. I love it. So now you've moved on to college and playing volleyball at Augustana. What was that transition like to you, taking it up to the next level?
Honestly, it was not too bad at all. Just being so busy in high school and then being a three-sport athlete and then going to college and only having one sport to focus on. So, the transition was pretty smooth.
I love it.
Well, we wish you continued success at Augustana. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving right along, our male high school athlete of the year is next. Here are this year's finalists. Grant Doctor is a high school player from Minnetonka who set the school's career record for most points by a defenseman. He was a Mr. Hockey Award finalist, a Reed Larson Award finalist, and earned first-team All-State honors. Off the ice, Grant was actively involved in the Hendrickson Foundation, Sharing and Caring Hands, and Feed My Starving Children.
Our next finalist is Greg Kirkfleet, a wrestler from Simile High School. He finished his prep career as one of the most decorated grapplers in state history, earning the 2019 Mr. Minnesota Wrestler of the Year title. Competing at heavyweight, Greg finished his senior season undefeated and also shined on the international stage. Throughout his prep career, he always made time to volunteer with the youth wrestling program, mentoring those who were coming up behind him.
And our third finalist is David Roddy, a multi-sport athlete from Breck School. He was a finalist for Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball. He was highly recruited in both sports. He also found time to throw the discus and won a state title in his senior season. A leader on and off the field, David was a member of Breck's Students of Color Mentorship Program and attended National Student Diversity Leadership Conference. He's currently a freshman playing basketball at Colorado State. Our male high school athlete of the year winner is David Roddy.
Unfortunately, David couldn't be here to give his thanks in person, so let's take a look at his prep highlights and a video message that he sent to share with all of you.
David Roddy was a three-sport standout at Breck School, receiving Division I offers in both football and basketball. As a quarterback, David threw over 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns. His play earned him a spot in the Minnesota Football Coaches Association All-Star Game, and he was a finalist for Mr. Football. On the basketball court, the 6'5" wingman averaged 29.7 points per game and 16.6 rebounds per game. David was named to the All-Metro First Team and ultimately chose to continue his basketball career at Colorado State. Roddy also starred in track and field, where he finished second in state in the shot put and won the state discus title. David was a leader on and off the field. The three-sport captain was a member of Breck's Student of Colors Mentorship Program and attended the National Student Diversity Leadership Conference. He was also involved in the school's weekly community service program. David Roddy, Breck School.
Hello everyone, my name is David Roddy. I'm a graduate of Breck School and now a current student athlete at Colorado State University. Unfortunately, I cannot attend the ceremony tonight. We have a big game against Colorado this Friday, so I need to stay here and prepare for that. First and foremost, I want to thank my family, coaches, and teammates for their everlasting support, and I wouldn't be here without them. I want to thank the committee for selecting me for this prestigious award. I am very humbled and honored to accept this award. And again, I just want to thank everyone for supporting me along the years, and everyone have a good night.
Yay.
Congratulations again to David. Throughout the evening, we want to share some candid conversations with you from some of the top sports figures in our community, and why not start right now? We're just talking about a rising student athlete from the hardwood. So let's take it back to the court with a couple of women who know a whole lot about basketball, leadership, and winning. Please welcome Minnesota Lynx head coach and general manager Cheryl Reeve and Lynx forward Jessica Shepard.
Hello, good to see you. Jessica, how are you? Good to see you. All right. Well, a fun night. Did you enjoy watching your teammate come up earlier and win Professional Athlete of the Year?
Yeah, it was great to see Fia up here getting that award. You know, she definitely deserves it, and just to see the impact she had on our team as a rookie was very impressive.
Cheryl, you had quite a season, a 9th consecutive trip to the playoffs, but this year a Rookie of the Year. You had a player on the All-WNBA team, Executive of the Year. I mean, this is quite a season for you.
Yeah, it was. I think probably the biggest thing was, you know, as we had one of our all-time greats, Lindsay Whalen, go on over to the U to coach, and we had some other players. One took a year off, another one was injured. So we had a lot of change, and so I think that was the big question mark, was how we're going to be able to sustain the level of excellence that Lindsay established for our franchise. And so we were very fortunate that someone like Napheesa Collier, as a rookie, was as good as she was. It's all about circumstance. She was not projected to be a starter in the WNBA. You know, she was somebody that we thought would be a decent role player. And as it turned out, with opportunity, playing 30 minutes a game, that she was pretty darn good. And we've got ourselves sort of the future of the franchise.
Coach Reeve, another player that you had your eye on for a long time, who's sitting right next to you, and Jess Shepard. Tell us a little bit about what you saw in those games before she was injured with the ACL injury, but I know you saw something special there.
Yeah, when you talk about Jess Shepard, you know, as coaches, when we evaluate and we watch a lot of film, we travel around the country to see them in person. There's a number of times I weathered South Bend, Indiana, to go see Jess Shepard. Jess Shepard is my all-time favorite player to watch her play basketball. The way that she plays the game, she's got a gift of an instinct to pass the ball. The way that she shares and makes her teammates better was an absolute perfect fit. And we were just hoping, you know, Jess and I were in touch, and we were hoping that with our second-round pick that there would be an opportunity for Jess to be a part of our franchise. And it worked out perfectly for us. We got Napheesa in the first round and Jess in the second. And prior to her injury, she was doing all the things that we thought she might do. Honestly, probably a little faster than what we thought she might. You know, Jess from Omaha, Nebraska, you know, just a player that I think defies the odds. If you look at her and you go, I don't know if Jess is going to be a great basketball player. You look at, you know, the white girl lack of athleticism, mindset. She defies all of that. Is really an exciting player to watch. And she was doing those things before her injury, and we're excited to have her back in this coming season to pair her with Napheesa.
What's the rehab process been like for you?
It's been great. You know, I always tell everybody if there was a right place to get injured, it was definitely here. Just having the staff at Mayo, you know, the surgeon, Doc was great. She's here tonight. And then, you know, the trainers have been unbelievable in my rehab. And then just the support I have, you know, having Coach be here and just, you know, being able to work out with them, kind of working back into basketball, it's been really good.
Sure, the league as a whole has expanded in terms of the balance, how many teams there are. There was a time where you could almost start the season and pencil in Minnesota and Los Angeles. They're going to be in it at the end. One of them's probably going to win it. Even though you've been in the playoffs 9 years in a row, the league's very different right now. There's a lot of clubs that start every season with hopes of a title.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Lindsay Whalen and you know, the time that she spent, you know, establishing this excellence for this franchise sort of lifted up the rest of the league. If you were going to win a championship, you'd have to come through the Minnesota Lynx. And so I think Lindsay set a standard, you know, for the WNBA. In order to compete with us, if you wanted to win, you know, you had to be better. And so I think now we're facing that. We're facing other teams have gotten higher draft picks. And so you see the gap close. And so we're trying to find ways to keep that edge, to remain competitive and be in the playoffs every single year.
So Cheryl, you know I have to ask this question because I'm sure everyone out here is wondering, is there any chance we'll see the great Maya Moore on the court again next season?
You know, obviously it's a question we'll field quite a bit as we get closer. It's not even been a year since Maya announced her decision that she was going to sit out for a year. Maya is one of the all-time greatest players, one of the all-time great college players, and certainly was just recently named one of the all-time greats in the decade that she was with the Minnesota Lynx. And I can just tell you that Maya is doing really meaningful work. She's very passionate, and Lindsay knows this. We've always talked about what we do is more than basketball, and I think that's on display right now. And we're wishing Maya the best. We're hoping she gets to one of the biggest wins of her career, which is to free a gentleman that she's fighting for that was wrongfully incarcerated, has served 23 years in prison, and so she's working very hard for his freedom, and we're hoping we're going to find out very soon and possibly move to a next chapter, and we're all hopeful. Yeah.
Well, thank both of you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Everyone, Coach Reeve, Jess Shepard, thank you so much. Bye, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, so we move back. And now back to honoring athletes as we move on to the collegiate athlete level. This next award is presented to collegiate athletes who have set the highest standard for excellence in their sports and their contributions to the community during the 2018-2019 athletic season. Here are the finalists for Female Collegiate Athlete of the Year.
One of the nation's top pitchers, Amber Fiser, appeared in 46 games in her junior season and helped lead Minnesota to their first appearance in the Women's College World Series. Her accolades include Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, First Team All-American, USA Softball Top 25 Player of the Year finalist. And away from the diamond, Amber has volunteered with Big Brothers Big Sisters and Hope Kids.
Our next finalist is Lexi Ramler from the University of Minnesota, and she's already one of the most accomplished gymnasts in Minnesota's storied history. As a sophomore last season, she was the NCAA runner-up in both the all-around and uneven bars, marking the highest individual finish for a Gopher since 1990. Outside of the gym, Lexi has volunteered with Hope Kids and a Special Olympics clinics.
Our third finalist is Ashley St. Aubin, who recently completed her college soccer career at Augsburg as one of the most prolific scorers in MIAC history. Last season, the forward set several Augsburg single-season records and earned All-American honors. She finished her career among the top 3 in points and goals in the MIAC and helped the Augies to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Besides playing, she coaches youth soccer. She's a math major who recently served as a data science intern with Minnesota United FC.
And the Female Collegiate Athlete of the Year is, from the University of Minnesota, Amber Fiser. There she is. Hi, Amber. Good to see you.
Congratulations.
So before we hear from Amber, let's take a look at the highlights from her collegiate career.
Amber Fiser was a standout on one of the country's top softball teams. In her junior year, Amber went 31-9 with a 1.27 ERA and 346 strikeouts to lead the Gophers to their first ever College World Series. Fiser pitched 4 complete game one-hitters and hit double-digit strikeouts in 14 games. Her amazing season earned her first-team All-American honors, and she was named the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Amber also put up big numbers in the classroom. With a GPA over 3.5, she was instrumental in the Gophers having the highest GPA in the conference. Fiser also spends time coaching and volunteering. She donates her time to the Big Brothers Big Sister Foundation and Hope Kids, Inc., an organization that works with children facing life-threatening illnesses to provide them with memorable experiences. Amber Fiser, University of Minnesota.
So Amber, the last time I saw you, I was handing you an award at the University of Minnesota for the Patty Berg Award. It has been quite a year, a season for you. What does it all feel like?
I mean, it's just amazing. It's just kind of like taking a breath, kind of the season's over now, but looking forward to next season, and all these accomplishments wouldn't have been possible without all my teammates I have behind me, my coaches, my family, everyone that supported me my whole life.
Minnesota's had some really good teams, but you were a part of the first one that made the step to the College World Series. What was that experience like?
It was incredible. I mean, and we even hosted the first Super Regionals ever, so just having that atmosphere, everyone's coming to support us and having to get like extra seating for the games was just an incredible experience. And the amount of support we got when we were at the World Series, I mean, we had a big crowd that showed up and it really blew us away.
Give us a little peek inside what it looks like to be a Division I athlete at the University of Minnesota. Just how difficult is it to work your way through a season with all the work and activities you have to do?
I mean, it's hard. You have to juggle school and softball, and so we have 20 hours of practice a week, and then on top of that, you got tutors, you have class, you have homework, you have to find time to eat in there. So it's really hard, but it's definitely worth it. It's best for years I've had in my life so far.
Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our Female Collegiate Athlete of the Year, Amber Pfizer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amber.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving right along, here are our finalists for Male College Athlete of the Year. Jackson Erdman of St. John's University had a stellar 2018 season as quarterback of the Johnny football team. He's got them going again this year, by the way, too, playing in the semifinals next weekend against Whitewater. Last year, he was the MIAC Player of the Year, a first-team All-American, and the winner of the Ghilardi Trophy given to the Division III Player of the Year, becoming just the second junior ever to win the award. For his community work, he started teaching an English as a second language class. He volunteers with Kids Fighting Hunger and was an All-State American Football Coaches Association Good Works Team honoree.
Our next finalist, Parker Mackay, is a hockey forward for the University of Minnesota Duluth and the only Bulldog to serve as team captain for 2 NCAA championship teams. He earned Most Outstanding Player honors in his senior season, a year after leading the 2018 NCAA tournament in points, goals, and game winners. Off the ice, he served as one of the Bulldogs' go-to players for community service requests. Today, Parker is in his first season of professional hockey with the AHL's Texas Stars.
And our third finalist in this category is Jimmy Schultz. The first 3-time team captain for the St. Cloud State men's hockey team, this defenseman never missed a game, played in 156 consecutive. Last season, he was a Hobey Baker Award finalist and the NCHC Player of the Year. Off the ice, he was an active volunteer with several organizations, including Special Olympics and Big Brothers Big Sisters. He's currently playing in the American Hockey League with the Chicago Wolves.
And the winner of the Men's Collegiate Athlete of the Year award is, from the University of Minnesota Duluth, Parker Mackay. Again, for this winning athlete, the demand of in-season commitments has kept Parker Mackay from attending in person. So let's take a look at his collegiate highlights and the video message that he sent us.
Parker Mackay was a standout winger who helped UMD to back-to-back national championships in hockey. Last year, Mackay led the team with 16 goals and 33 points. He was voted the most outstanding player in both the NCAA Midwest Regional and the Frozen Four. In his college career, Parker played in 3 Frozen Fours and captained both title teams. Parker was a great leader on and off the ice. He devotes a large amount of his time to volunteering in the Duluth community, and his selfless attitude and generosity came out in the team's many community service endeavors.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by congratulating all the other award winners and nominees at tonight's show. It is an honor and a privilege to accept this award. I would like to thank the University of Minnesota and the University of Minnesota Duluth for allowing me to be a student athlete over the last 4 seasons. I want to thank my teammates, my coaches, and the staff at the University of Minnesota Duluth for making it such a privilege to play there over the last 4 years. I want to congratulate everyone who has won an award tonight and all the other nominees. Have a great evening, everyone.
All right. We thank Parker for taking the time to send us his personal message.
And since we just gave out an award to a young hockey star, it seems like a great time to bring out our next guests. They're 2 legends in the world of hockey. Both are members of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, and fortunately for us, they're a part of the Minnesota Wild family. Please welcome General Manager Bill Guerin and new Wild Executive Advisor Mike Modano. Well, we sure appreciate you guys taking the time out of the busy hockey schedule to stop by tonight. And Mike, we'll start with you. You were a part of hockey in Minnesota when it was the Minnesota North Stars, and it's hard to believe that was 26 years ago.
Wow.
But now you're back. How different is hockey in Minnesota now to what you remember it back in those days?
I don't know. Weather's the same. That hasn't changed at all in 30 years. But I think the game's the same. I think the fan base and everybody still loves the sport, and just, you know, the state of hockey is just something special. It's not very rare that you get this type of state. Obviously, it's comparable to Canada, but, you know, the environment here in Minnesota for the state, for the game is compares to no other. I grew up in Detroit, around Little Caesars, the Red Wings and everything else, but still it doesn't compare to the minor hockey and college hockey around here.
So, Bill, give us a little insight. And first of all, congratulations that your team's rolling a bit right now, so that's pretty exciting. So as a general manager, what's a day like? Give us an idea of who you're going to be calling tomorrow. Are we you going to break any trades? Or just let us know.
I'm calling my mom tomorrow to make sure she's going to tell me everything's going to be okay. No, honestly, it's, you know, I was just talking to my wife on the way over here, and it just, day to day, you really don't know what's going to happen, who you're going to talk to. But like today, for instance, my phone just exploded. There were 7 or 8 agents that called, and they all want updates on their players, or they have a player available. So you're on the phone a lot. You know, you're dealing with your staff, the staff in Minnesota on a daily basis. You're touching base with the minor league team in Iowa. There's a lot to do, but it's, you know what, I've enjoyed every single day since I got the job back in August, and loving the transition to Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Mike, you were a part of the hiring process to give him the job in August. What did he do to impress you?
I know, it was a tough deal. I know. It was a lot of work, but yeah, Craig kind of threw me under the bus with that, kind of helping me out. And, you know, I wasn't supposed to, you know, kind of get on the books till September in training camp. He's like, well, we got something happen. I think we're going to change GMs. I'm like, can you help me find a GM? I'm like, I have no idea how to do the interview process. I don't know what I'm supposed to ask, but Billy's always been on the radar for these guys, and he's been phenomenal. He's done a lot of leg work and grunt work, and he's been a part of the Penguins in Pittsburgh and their success. So it was, as it kind of weeded itself out. I mean Billy kind of rose to the top and really kind of impressed everybody, and especially Craig, who got to work with him on a daily basis. And that's pretty much what it came down to, telling Craig, this is the guy you got to trust and, you know, be a part of and make hard decisions and what the future holds for the team. And so I think I did a good job finding it.
We agree.
I think you did a great job.
So, Mike,
you're welcome.
I'm curious about your job, because you work on both sides, right? Like in the front office and with the players. So what does that look like when you're working with the players and then headed upstairs to the front office?
It's a lot of fun for me because I get both sides. I get the business. I'm in all the departments and kind of working and kind of just learning. I just wanted to kind of get back in the game in some way. It kind of worked a little quicker because Billy kind of came on board, and so I get to dabble a little bit on the hockey side and the business side. But yeah, season tickets, corporate, you know, the whole thing. So it's just a big learning process for me. It's a lot, but then I get to go down to the hockey side and get a little more entrenched and kind of hear what Billy's ideas are and what the future holds. So I get a little bit of taste of both sides. It's nice.
Awesome.
Billy, you've won Stanley Cups as a player and as part of a management team. Is one any more rewarding than the other?
No, both extremely gratifying. You know, the tough thing when you play sports in general. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, an amateur, you play in college, or you play professionally. When the day you stop playing it's a sad day, and because there's nothing to replace that. So when you win in management, hey, look, you put in a lot of work. You know, there's a lot of legwork done by scouts, by development staff, by coaches, by management, and it's extremely gratifying. But there's nothing quite like having the battle scars to show and to go through that process. But hey, anytime you can win a Stanley Cup, it's a great thing.
Do you ever just throw your ice skates on and kind of show them how the old school used to do it, or?
I let them watch YouTube videos. That's about it. I don't move as fast as I used to.
Got it.
There's some instant credibility, though, when either one of you guys walk in the room. You both had watched this organization, watched some of these players from afar. What's the biggest thing that has surprised you that you've learned about this club, about this team, that you couldn't see from outside the organization?
I think the character of the group. I think, and I think they've shown it already this year. We had an extremely slow start. We started off behind the 8 ball, but you know what? These guys they're a tight-knit group. They've bonded together. They've worked their tails off, and now we're in the mix. And I think the resiliency and the character of the group is something that you can only see from the inside. And to be completely honest with you, that's the most important thing if you're going to win a championship is character.
Yeah, I agree. I think when the schedule came out at the end of June, we all looked at it as like, this is the worst start to a season I think I've ever seen in NHL history. Like the amount of road games these guys started, and to just kind of fight their way back into the mix by the time we got to 1st of December is kind of saying a lot for these guys. So they kind of sucked it up, and it was a little tough at the start, but you get on these runs and you get some confidence, and everybody starts kind of feeling a little bit of magic, and things happen, and now they're right in the mix in the wild card, and it's not even December Christmas yet. So it's good to see that they're capable of doing this. So I think there's a lot of games left and a lot of good hockey left.
Well, guys, thanks very much for stopping by and joining us tonight. We'll see you over there tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Anthony, good to see you.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, son. Good to see
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
All right, and now for a change of pace, we'll shift from the athletes to the coaches. We've had a number of amazing team experiences in Minnesota this year, which means we have awesome nominees for Coach of the Year. The first finalist is Minnesota Twins manager Rocco Baldelli. Woo-hoo! He led the club to the AL Central Division crown and a Division Series appearance for the first time since 2010. With Baldelli at the helm, the Twins set the all-time Major League Baseball record for home runs in a season at 307 and won 101 games, the most since 1965. Minnesota's 2019 win total improved by 23 games over the previous season, resulting in the third best improvement in franchise history.
Our second finalist, Adrian Heath, is the head coach of Minnesota United FC. Working with a young club, Coach Heath led the Loons on an upward trajectory, taking them into the MLS playoffs in just their third season. The Loons set records for wins, points, and goals scored. Heath's squad also notched its best finish in the U.S. Open Cup.
Our third finalist, Scott Sandelin, led the UMD Bulldogs back to college hockey's promised land with another national title. They won back-to-back championships the past 2 seasons, and last year's Frozen Four win marked their third NCAA title in the last 9 years. Currently in his 20th season behind the UMD bench, he is the Bulldogs' all-time winning coach with over 375 career wins.
And the winner of the 2019 Coach of the Year, we might mention that he also won the American League Manager of the Year, Minnesota Twins manager Rocco Baldelli. Let's revisit some of the highlights from the summer. Rocco Baldelli had a great start to his managerial career. Rocco took the helm of the Twins in October of 2018, and at the age of 37 was the youngest manager in baseball. His positive and patient approach worked well with Minnesota's mix of rising stars and veteran leaders. His Twins lineup was one of the most potent in all of baseball, setting a major league record by hitting 307 home runs. Baldelli led his Twins team to 101 wins and a Central Division title and was named American League Manager of the Year. Away from the diamond, Rocco has participated in team initiatives designed to encourage the healthy development of children and families through an association with youth baseball and softball as a part of the Minnesota Twins Community Fund.
So we're sorry that Rocco Baldelli couldn't be here tonight. He's currently attending the baseball winter meetings in San Diego. But he sent us his message to share with all of you.
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be named the 2019 Minnesota Sports Awards Coach of the Year. I'm in San Diego right now for the Major League Baseball winter meetings, and unfortunately, I won't be able to join everyone tonight. I'd like to thank the committee. I'd like to thank all the fans. I'd like to thank everyone who supported us this year. It was a pretty special year with the Minnesota Twins, and I'm very proud of everything we were able to accomplish. Also, I'd like to congratulate and wish the best of luck to all the other coaches who are in this category. There's tremendous leadership here in the Minnesota area, in this market. It's fun to watch. It's going on all around us right now, and I'm honored to be a part of that. I just want to say thank you again to everyone, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the ball field and around town next year. Thank you.
All right. Well, like any good manager, Rocco prepared for this situation and has backups ready to send in. So will you please welcome Twins pitchers Taylor Rogers and Devin Smeltzer. I'm Leah. Nice to meet you. Hi there. I'm Leah. Thanks.
Well, quite a season that you guys had, out of nowhere, really, to capture the American League Central Division Championship. How early in the season did you know something special was brewing with this club?
Well, I guess it's kind of cliche to say, but we kind of knew in spring training early on in the year, and you know, the things that Rocco brought to the club beforehand, you could tell by the video just how much of a genuine person he is and how pure he is. And I think that kind of just resonated with us, and the camaraderie just came together, and here we were at the end of the season, you know, Central champs.
Yeah, give us some insight on your team, because I felt like early on, just like Anthony said, you wanted to get to Twins games because there was something special brewing in your camaraderie. Like, what are some of the personalities? Where do you two fit into it? Like, we need a little inside scoop on this.
Well, me being a younger guy, I was up and down a little bit, and you know, right from my first day, I was taken under the wings. It was like a brotherhood, and you know, it was a young team, so it was a really good atmosphere to be a part of.
A lot of different personalities in there. That's the other good thing about Rocco is he allows for that, and I think this kind of day and age, it's good to have. We have some jokesters. We have, you know, Nelson Cruz is kind of like the messiah, and are keeping an eye on everybody. So no, we had a really nice mix of everything.
It's interesting you mentioned Rocco, because he wasn't the only one, but they made a concerted effort to do some things differently this year, to change the way you guys, everything from the way you took batting practice to sometimes the way you traveled, to having days where you just said, don't come to the ballpark until 5 o'clock. It's not the norm in baseball. Very few people are willing to change that much. How much did the way they embraced a unique way to look at things help create some of that chemistry and that comfort level that you just described?
Yeah, it was a bit controversial, I guess, around the baseball world, because it's always been done one way, and then all of a sudden we're going to come in here and do something a little bit different. But I think it was beneficial in the fact that it showed that Rocco trusted us and trusted us to be professionals. He basically said, we don't need to have you guys here so early because we trust you're going to do what you need to do to be ready. And I think that's another part of the reason, you know, we had a really nice year, because it just showed that he trusted us before we trusted him. And then at the end of the season, there was a mutual trust.
What does the off season look like for both of you two? And I'm just curious, is like, how much do you just really need to rest your arms and just take time to recuperate, or is it always about more preparation? And what does that look like?
You know, it's crazy because every player is different. And you know, me being a starter, I like to throw, and I know relievers don't throw as much. And I took about 2 weeks off from throwing, and then began throwing again, and take a nice mental break. I'm on the water a lot, fishing and enjoying the warm weather down in Florida, and you know, just get my body ready for the next year.
Yeah, same thing. It's just take some time to unwind, spend the holidays with the family, and you know, take that mental break, and then get ready for another season.
Devin, you've got a story that defies the odds in a lot of ways, but I'll just start with actually on the mound. in a day and age where everything's measured, velocity and all. I mean, there aren't very many metrics by which they would say this guy's a no-brainer big league pitcher. And yet you stand out there and challenge some of the best hitters in baseball and are willing to throw pitches where nobody would tell you should be able to throw the pitch with your velocity.
Yeah, you know, like you said, everything I've been through growing up, nothing really intimidates me. So whether it's Aaron Judge, who's about 2.5 feet taller than me, or whoever's in the box, I attack them like they're trying to take the food off my table. So, you know, I go after them, and, you know, that's just always the mindset I've had.
Could you tell us a little bit about your history and how that kind of shaped you as a young kid coming through?
Yeah, so right before my 10th birthday, I was diagnosed with bladder and prostate cancer, and I fought that for a year, going through radiation and chemo. And I was the pity party, why me, the first couple months. But, you know, one day I woke up and realized that I was going to beat this. I didn't have it as bad as a lot of other kids. And from that point on, I turned it around and tried making everybody else's lives a little bit better in the hospital. And, you know, I was blessed with the left arm, not throwing at crazy velocity, but, you know, I have my fun with it, and I know what I'm doing. And as the platform's grown, I've been able to reach a lot more people and families and kind of give a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel and make their lives a little bit better.
That's awesome.
As this season progressed, really an amazing story, and the night your family was there to watch you pitch this year was something else. It was one of the most emotional moments that I've experienced at the ballpark. But as you look back on the season, this club caught people by surprise this year, perhaps, coming out of the gates, and just kept things rolling, got on an unbelievable run, and it couldn't be stopped. Can you duplicate it next year?
That's the big question. It's a big question. I think
I only ask the big questions.
Yes, a tough one.
Yeah, you got hard-hitting questions up here. No, it's funny. I think with our group, we don't put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem duplicating it. The other aspect of it, for us being pitchers, is we don't have to face the Bomba squad. So that helps us sleep at night.
You have to watch out in the bullpen, though.
We have to cover our heads out in the bullpen,
right.
yes.
How about a big round of applause for Taylor Rogers and Devin Smeltzer? Hey, and if I give you this, can I trust you to get it to Rocco?
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
It's very
Thanks,
heavy.
guys.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, this next category is always special. The Courage Award, presented by TRIA, honors an athlete or sports figure who has demonstrated tremendous perseverance and pushed through extraordinary challenges while also inspiring all others with their courage and determination. The life and legacy of this year's Courage Award honoree is the epitome of this definition.
Gabe Grunwald was an elite distance runner and U.S. champion who lost her life to cancer this past June. Diagnosed while she was still a senior at the University of Minnesota, she never let go of her love for her sport or her desire to compete. In fact, she clung to her passion as it gave her life, even though the cancer was relentless.
Please turn your attention to the screen for the remarkable story of Gabe Grunwald.
After a decade-long fight with a rare form of cancer known as adenoid cystic carcinoma, U.S. runner Gabriel Grunwald, affectionately known as Gabe, succumbed to the disease in June of 2019. Gabrielle was a professional runner whose roots ran deep in the state of Minnesota. She won a track and field state title while competing for Perham High School. From there, Gabrielle walked on to the University of Minnesota cross-country and track and field teams in 2004, and eventually became an NCAA track and field All-American. Her husband, Justin, still remembers how special she was from the first time he met her.
She was spunky, seemed pretty confident, and started dating later on in college. And then ultimately, when I was in grad school, I proposed, and then I think during my residency, or the end of grad school, we got married.
Gabrielle began running professionally in 2010.
She didn't really ever dream of being a professional runner. a couple years later was 4th at the Olympic trials. Ultimately ended up running 4:01 for the 1500 meters, which is the 11th fastest American ever at that time, in spite of 2 cancer diagnoses at that time.
Throughout each new diagnosis and treatment, Gabrielle kept running. Gabe strongly believed in finding out what was possible despite her diagnosis, and encouraged other cancer survivors to keep their minds open to the possibility of achieving their dreams by being brave in their own way.
She very quickly turned her fear into more of a determination in a life of saying, I don't know how long I have left, but I'm going to make the most of every minute I have and do amazing things, and that's what she did.
It's no surprise that Gabrielle touched people all around the world during her short time on Earth. And because of that, her story and legacy continues on with the Brave Like Gabe Foundation. The hope is that it inspires others to share their own struggles while also helping to find better and more effective treatments for rare cancers.
She lost her life ultimately, but she's definitely winning the battle and making the world a better place, and I think that's a lot more important.
And now the focus for Justin is to continue the fight to keep Gabe alive every day.
I took a little piece of her jewelry that has her initials on it that I wear, that whenever I hear it jingle, it just gives me kind of some comfort. It's easy to find her, and whether it's in a shooting star or the beautiful fall leaves, every time I go for a run, I feel her presence.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to accept this year's Courage Award on behalf of his wife, Gabe, is CEO and President of Brave Like Gabe Foundation, Dr. Justin Grunwald. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And the story's so heartbreaking, so it's kind of even difficult to get through here. But before we ask you for your reaction to Gabe receiving this award, we have a special message that someone wanted us to share tonight. Here's Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
Justin, I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there today. I'm presently in the process of trying to pass a budget for the city of Minneapolis. But I wanted to make sure that I attended, at least through video, to let you know that there is nobody on this planet that is more deserving of the Courage Award than my friend, Gabe. Gabe was and is an inspiration to those living with cancer, an inspiration to the running community, an inspiration to our entire city and country. She didn't just live life every day, she attacked it, just like she attacked her last laps in track and field. The spirit to which she lived is emblematic of everything that all of us should be striving for. I miss her dearly. I know that you miss her too. There's nobody like Gabe, and she is the perfect person to get this Courage Award. Justin, sending you tons of love right now, and I'm sure we'll get out for a run and beer soon.
That's for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So how do you feel that Gabe would have felt about receiving this?
I think she'd be honored. I mean, she's still here with me, with us, and still inspiring the world through the foundation, so I think she's honored to receive it.
I know that she had a tremendous following on social media, but there's still people out there that are learning her story. You were a training partner. How do you describe the way she was able to maintain her focus and her commitment to train despite all the treatment that she was dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, like any athlete, there's many athletes in the room. She wanted to be the best in the world, and every time she had a bit of adversity or a bit of struggle, it kind of kicked her in the butt and got her going a little harder. In life, there's a lot of struggle, and I think that was her enduring message that no matter how hard it gets, if you have something you love or something you enjoy, just keep going, and that's what she did. And she ran way faster than she was supposed to and did way more than she was supposed to despite multiple cancer diagnoses.
Tell us a little bit more about Brave Like Gabe, and I think that's a beautiful name. What are the events, and how can people be involved?
Yeah, I mean, the events grow daily. It's been pretty incredible. Her story reached a global scale, which was incredible. We have a foundation that supports rare cancer research. We just did a matching grant for the wonderful Casey O'Brien. He's a Gopher football player. He has a cancer called osteosarcoma. We're funding a lab here in Minnesota. We were at a $100,000 grant there. We've raised around $1.5 million this year. We have a 5K here. We have some good friends in Waco, Texas that put on a marathon that raises around $300,000 a year. We sell apparel. We do all sorts of things. The mayor's supported us, and we've kind of had global support, which has been incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause in honor of our Courage Award winner, Gabe Grunewald, and thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Our next guest was a member of the Minnesota Vikings for 10 years and selected by fans to be a member of the 40th anniversary Viking team. He was also recently named a finalist for the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Please welcome former Vikings punter and sideline analyst for the Minnesota Vikings radio network, Greg Coleman.
Hi, Greg. Good to see you. All righty. Well, we know that. Well, let's talk a little Vikings before we get going.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
So pretty exciting year. What are you seeing up close and personal about this team that you might think are they going to be able to pull it off these last few games?
What do you think? Where's your faith, Leah? Where's your faith, baby? I mean, listen, we're 9-4.
Okay.
The march to Miami is still moving forward.
I like it.
Now the push to the playoffs. Sunday we're out in Los Angeles playing it's hard to say Los Angeles Chargers, but
Right.
San Diego.
Right.
We're playing the Chargers Sunday. You know, they put up 42 points on the Jaguars Sunday.
Okay.
So we've got our work cut out for us, but I know Mike Zimmer and his staff has been doing a phenomenal job, and he'll have the team ready on Sunday. As a matter of fact, a big part of our success is a young man that's here in the audience. He wears number 30. He's a fullback, and he's C.J. Ham, and he is having a phenomenal year. C.J. Ham.
All right.
And not only is he having a phenomenal year, he is one of the top fullbacks in the National Football League. So I need for you guys to get online, go online. Pro Bowl voting is still out there. So,
Let's go.
you know, hey, let's get CJ into the Pro Bowl, all right?
All right.
We've heard so many athletes up here throughout the night tonight talking about chemistry and camaraderie and when they knew something special was going on. This team seems to have a little bit of that developing. Do you see the same?
Absolutely. Let me give you two examples. Number one, Anthony Barr, number 55, was in New York about to sign a contract with the New York Jets. Pushed that away, came back to Minnesota. Kyle Rudolph, free agent, unrestricted free agent, had multiple offers all over the league, left a lot of money on the table to come back to be in that locker room. That creates chemistry. In the kind of year that Kyle is having so far, that Anthony Barr is having, they both are playing at Pro Bowl levels, and what this staff is doing, and let me tell you this, US Bank Stadium is the best stadium in the National Football League.
Yes.
We're undefeated at home. Love it.
All right. Well, we love talking Vikings with you, and we're very, very excited about what's happening in the future. But what we're doing here tonight with you is a little bit different, and you're going to be presenting an award tonight So tell us what it's about.
I would be delighted. I mean, this award is the Trailblazer Award. It's called the Trailblazer Award. And it recognizes someone in the sports community who has paved the way through, on the field and in the way for future generations. It's while giving back to the broader Minnesota community through kindness, leadership, and service. And I am so pleased that the first recipient of the Trailblazers Award is a close personal friend of mine. And, Sid Hartman is not the only one that has a close personal friend in high places. This individual is a great community builder, and he has a heart of gold. He was an attorney. He became the highest-ranking African-American executive in the National Football League. He's the former chief operating officer and vice president of legal for the Minnesota Vikings. He's now the incoming Big Ten commissioner. It's my pleasure to present the Trailblazer Award to Kevin Warren.
All right. Kevin, good to see you. All right. You want to start it off? He's your buddy.
Well,
he's your close personal friend.
But
you get to go.
Listen, everybody doesn't know Kevin as well as I
Yes.
do. So let's take a look at the body of work through this video and see why he's the first recipient of the Trailblazer Award.
There are many philosophies successful people try to live by in this world. One of them is to leave things better than we found them. In 2005, Kevin Warren joined the Minnesota Vikings. Because of Kevin's previous NFL experiences in Detroit and St. Louis, the Wilf family was eager to have him as part of their leadership team. Early on, it was easy to see that Kevin was the perfect choice to deliver the Wilf's vision for the franchise. Kevin understands that any sports franchise is powered by the people who love it the most, the fans. As he witnessed the authentic passion and loyalty of Vikings fans, he set goals for the organization to become an industry leader in elevating the fan experience on game days and beyond. Knowing a critical component of that experience hinges on world-class facilities, Warren helped lead the quest for what would become the largest construction project in Minnesota history, a new publicly owned stadium for Minnesota. Immediately upon its opening in 2016, U.S. Bank Stadium set a standard for sports stadiums across the country, giving Vikings fans the home they deserve and ensuring the return of major national and international sporting events, including Super Bowl 52. His passion for helping others led to countless charitable acts throughout the years, including a $1 million donation to start Carolyn's Comforts in honor of his late sister. Kevin and Greta's adoption of Lucy Laney Elementary School in North Minneapolis led to the donation of over 5,000 backpacks to students in need of school supplies. And the Warren family's No Doors Closed Scholarship gives high school students financial support to attend college. Throughout Kevin's NFL career and his 14 seasons with the Vikings, his leadership style and his passion for helping others had an indelible impact on the organization and on the Minnesota community. As he embarks on his new journey as the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference, we can truly say Kevin is leaving us better than he found us.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present this award, the Trailblazer Award, to a true trailblazer, Mr. Kevin Warren.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Kevin, tell us, what does this award mean to you?
Well, it means anytime I get an opportunity to show my respect, love, appreciation to so many people here in the Twin Cities, it really means everything. I've been fortunate and blessed to win a lot of awards during my life and during my career,
but this is very special, and I can't wait to put this in my office in Chicago because I absolutely love the people here in the Twin Cities, and I'm so grateful that they took me in, a young black man in his late 30s in 2005 when we moved here with a bunch of hopes, dreams, and desires, and they took Greta and our kids and me in and treated us like family, and this will always be home.
This award, Trailblazing, it's so synonymous with your life. Even your father was a trailblazer in so many other ways. Can you share?
Yeah, there are so many things that I owe to my parents and my grandparents. I mean, they helped build tenacity and toughness. They put education first. They told us, you will not inherit a dollar from us, but you'll get a great education. And my dad would always say, education trumps money. And so I've always remembered that. But he went through a lot. I mean, he fought in the war. He was a student athlete at Arizona State in the 40s, got his undergrad, master's, and PhD there, but couldn't get a job as a professor. And so was a lifeguard in the summer, an elementary school principal. My mother was a librarian. But they always taught us, just hold your head high, be respectful, be humble. Don't talk about the things that have gone wrong. Focus on the things that have gone right. Count your blessings, say your prayers. Be good to people and leave every situation better than when you found it. And just live each day, each and every day.
Your body of work with the Vikings has been so stretched so wide and so vast. Talk about the culture of diversity that's been created by the organization.
Yeah, I mean, diversity and inclusion is so important. And I don't know what it will take for companies to realize that. It makes sense, and it makes sense. It makes money. But it's the right thing to do. And so I'm just grateful that some of the people are here, that we were able to promote women, not because they were women, but because they were talented, to vice president positions. We were able to be the first NFL team to host an LGBTQ symposium, and I can't tell you the number of people that called me and told me to be careful about doing that in our facility. And you know how I am. You know, I'm one of those people that like running down the opposite way on a train track every once in a while, and I'm proud. But this really award is not about me, it's about the people in this room and about so many people at the Vikings who went up and beyond what they were required to do, beyond their job description, sacrificed from their families, their loved ones, their kids, and I will forever be grateful, not only to them, but to this great state.
Last few, Kevin. If you were commissioner of the National Football League, what would be priority for you?
Well, I get that question asked a lot, and again, I have to go back to what my father said. You know, he would always tell me as a young kid, you know, put a plus or minus at the end of each day, and just try to win every day. And so I've never looked around the corner. I've never planned ahead. I just have tried to embrace each and every day, count my blessings, be prayerful, do the best I possibly can be, and we'll see what happens. But I know now, being the leader in the Big Ten Conference and with our great coach Lindsey Whalen here and the success that the conferences have, we have 10,000 student athletes in the Big Ten. And so when you think about every day, I want to make sure that every one of our student athletes, every one of our coaches, every one of our institutions has the same benefit and the love and appreciation and respect for me that I have for my wife and kids and my loved ones. So I'm trying to build a culture of accountability, of respect, of championships, to also remind everyone that people go to college to get an education, and sports is a great added benefit. But we're here, I want us to be the best conference in all of the world. And so every day that I wake up, every night that I go to bed, I'm just grateful that I was hired, and I'm going to give every ounce of energy that I can to make everyone continually proud of what I do.
All right, now truly, this is the last one, folks. Kevin, your favorite memory being a part of the Minnesota Vikings organization?
Wow. It really is. I can't give one, but it's a couple. One was the day the deal closed back in June of 2005. I was just in New York last night for an event and actually drove by the St. Regis Hotel where we had the closing dinner. So the closing of that was amazing. The ribbon cutting for our stadium, the Purple Gala, because it was so hard. The ribbon cutting at TCL Performance Center. So many games. I think the memories are the people and all the people that I've had a chance to meet and that they've touched me and I touched them. And so I have hundreds of them, and I'm just grateful to be back home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the true trailblazer, Mr. Kevin Warren.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kevin and Greg, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Well, we'll see if Kevin maintains. I'm sure he'll be a Vikings fan, even though he's based in Chicago now. I don't doubt that for a minute.
It's one of those things I'm so happy for him, but I hate to see him leave. Just has done so many impactful things here. So this next award is always a fun one because it highlights the special and sometimes surprising moments in sports that often can't be predicted.
Yeah, this award recognizes a single sports moment from a game or competition that energized fans, displayed remarkable athletic skill, or demonstrated incredible sportsmanship. And it's one of the reasons we all love sports so much. No one ever knows for sure exactly how things will play out. The public nominated a number of incredible sports events for the Minnesota Sports Moment of the Year, and here are the finalists.
During the 2018-19 season, and still grieving the loss of a teammate who died in a car accident, the Henning High School basketball team actively kept his memory alive on the bench the entire season. In a stunning outcome, Henning succeeded with an improbable run to capture its first state championship in any sport ever by defeating Northwood 67-42 in the Class 1A title game. Moment of the Year finalist, Henning High School.
On April 13, 2019, the UMD hockey team became only the third team in the last 47 years to win back-to-back national championships. Parker Mackay, our Collegiate Athlete of the Year winner, provided a goal and an assist during the shutout win over Massachusetts, earning another Frozen Four championship title for the Bulldogs. Moment of the Year finalist, UMD hockey.
On September 29, 2019, the Minnesota Twins blasted their way to an MLB home run record with a trio of bombas on the final day of the regular season. Jason Castro's fifth inning round tripper versus the Boston Red Sox proved to be the difference as the Twins edged the Yankees in home runs totals 307 to 306. Moment of the Year finalists, Minnesota Twins.
On October 13, 2018, 6 days after the passing of its legendary former head coach John Gallardi, St. John's upset arch rival St. Thomas, although the Johnnies in the room will tell you it wasn't an upset. They won the game 40-20 in front of an overflow crowd in Collegeville, Minnesota. The Johnnies forced 7 turnovers that day and used a record 470 yards and 3 touchdowns from men's Collegiate Athlete of the Year finalist Jackson Erdman to break a 4-game losing streak against the Tommies in the annual Tommy-Johnny Gridiron Battle. And the winner of the Sports Moment of the Year is the state championship win for the Henning boys basketball team.
Good to see you. Oh, yeah. Here to accept the award on behalf of Henning High School basketball are the Henning coaches, Randy Mezagadis? Perfect, okay. Close enough, really. And Mark Oscarson. Before we chat with them, let's take a look at their incredible state win.
In the spring of 2019, the Henning boys basketball team completed a journey that began with tragedy and ended in triumph. 53 years after making their first trip to the state tournament, the Hornets beat Northwood 67-42 to win the state title. It was the first state championship of any sport in the school's history. Their destiny started 2 years ago with the tragic death of Jacob Quam in a car accident. Jacob was a sophomore, and this year he would have been a senior for Henning. The Hornets played in honor of Jacob and kept his number 33 jersey with them throughout this incredible run.
Gentlemen, I'm going to hand this to you.
Boy, it's just an unbelievable story, and there are moments in sports sometimes where you're just convinced there's some higher power that's got something to do with what's going on. You had to be feeling that throughout this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and he was with us the whole journey, and we actually told the kids after our section final win, we trailed by 10 with 4 minutes to go and won the game, so we had a little extra help that night.
Woo-woo! Well, I had the pleasure of working on the broadcast and watching all your games, and there was definitely something unique and special just watching this team succeed and keep going through and making their way through. What was it like to work with these young kids trying to kind of contain their emotions, but, you know, bring them to this high level of play?
You know, we were just blessed to have a great group of kids, number one, and you go from that worst moment you can possibly imagine and try to channel that. But we had some jitters in the quarterfinal, and then we absolutely couldn't have played any better in the last two games, and we just rolled. And, you know, everything we shot went in, and it was just, you know, two games like that you can't imagine. How much did your role as a coach have to include that of a counselor for some of these kids at different times? Yeah, that definitely became part of it. You know, that morning, you know, getting a phone call and then meeting those kids in the gym, you know, I get emotional talking about it. Telling a 16-year-old kid that his best friend died, you know, is pretty rough. So through all of it, we learned and we grew and we became closer. And to end like we did, you just can't explain it. What an incredible story. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Henning High School basketball. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure, Tiff. All right, well, since we're getting close to the final segment of our program, just a quick reminder to check your silent auction bids to see what you've won. And don't forget to pick up your items on the way out as well.
The last portion of tonight's program is to honor athletic performers who have reached truly legendary status with the Star Tribune Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame.
So some of you may not have known that Minnesota has its own Sports Hall of Fame because it took a 12-year hiatus as the economy teetered in the mid-2000s and the Metrodome, its former home, came tumbling down.
But it's back now, thanks to the Star Tribune. The Star Tribune reintroduced us all to the hall last year when the one and only Sid Hartman was inducted. Here to tell us how the Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame is stronger than ever is Star Tribune sports editor Chris Carr.
Good to see you.
So this is when I'm supposed to say that I'm thrilled and honored to be here tonight, but that is just not the case. Editors, as you all know, cannot lie, so I won't. And I'll say that this is terribly embarrassing. So, Chris, could you go up there and tell those nice people that we are just now inducting Willard Eikela into the Hall of Fame? Oh, and John Gallardi, too, and Randall McDaniel, and John Randall. This would be fun if it was like 2001. Get with it, Star Tribune, right? Nobody ever says that, actually. You probably forgive us for, or you understand that Randy Moss and Lindsey Whalen are going into the Hall of Fame tonight. It wasn't all that long ago that they were making us jump out of our seats. But the rest of these guys, they've been Hall of Fame worthy for about 20 years. And so we apologize for the 2-decade delay. But what a great way to bring it back. This is a fantastic class. We at the Star Tribune, we're so proud to get it back on its feet. And this class is a perfect way to get that comeback going. 2 iconic coaches, Eikela, Gallardi, no first names needed. Randy Moss, a player who didn't just change a few games or a few seasons. This is a player who changed defenses. He changed the franchise. He changed an entire fan base. Speaking of change, perhaps the finest change agent in Minnesota sports history, and perhaps the finest champion in all of Minnesota sports history, Lindsey Whalen. She's going into the Hall of Fame tonight. And 2 more Pro Football Hall of Famers who remain among the most popular Vikings of all time. Go to a game later this month and look around. You'll still see the 64s and the 93s, Randall and Randall. I got to deliver the news to Lindsey Whalen in person in her office this summer when we talked about the Hall of Fame, and she was curious about who else was going in with her in this class of 2019. And as soon as I read John Randall and Randall McDaniel's names, she got excited, and she remembered what positions they played. She remembered the jersey numbers, and she shared memories of cheering for those 2 guys and Randy when she was a kid. I think that's easily my favorite part of all of this, of the Hall of Fame comeback and of tonight, that we get to stitch together these great pieces of our tremendous Minnesota sports history. Let's take a look back at some of that history right now.
George Mikan, America's greatest basketball player of this first half century.
Minnesota's Rod Carew, making a lot of baseball history.
When these purple people eaters unload, they unload.
Patty Bird was on the road to greatness.
And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Here's the scoring for you. Janet Carvinen scored 30 points.
A lot of you people are really on the threshold of joining a very select fraternity. A fraternity of ex-Minnesota players, someone that's going to wear that M. There's nothing in your life that you'll find more proud, gentlemen. Let's get ready to go. Come on. A drive deep to left, way back, beautifully. Home run!
Thanks so much, Chris, and thanks to the Star Tribune for reviving this Minnesota Hall of Fame. There's a lot of fun in admiring and celebrating the standout performers, and the Hall of Fame helps us keep a record of all of them. Chris Carr and the Star Tribune have done a tremendous job bringing this back. With that, let's get on to meeting the inductees for 2019.
Our first two Hall of Fame inductees are legendary coaches who led their clubs to success through generations of players. Willard Eicela is a U.S. Hockey Hall of Famer, an Olympian, a state champion, NCAA champion as a player, and perhaps most notably the iconic Edina coach from 1958 to 1991.
You know, nobody will ever forget the houndstooth hat, right?
Absolutely.
John Gagliardi won more college football games than anyone, ever, in the history of the game. You can't possibly think of St. John's University and not think of John. When he passed away in 2018, the entire city of Collegeville and many football fans across the country mourned the legendary coach. Let's take a look back at these two amazing coaches.
Hockey was in the blood of Willard Eicela, who found plenty of success on the ice, both as a player and a coach. As a goalie for the Eveleth Golden Bears, Eicela helped lead his school to 3 undefeated seasons and state championships in 1948, 49, and 50. After his prep career, he played hockey at the University of Michigan, helping the Wolverines win a national title in 1952 and 1953. Following his playing career, Eicela was the head coach at Edina and went on to win 8 state titles and retired with 616 career coaching victories. A winner is what John Gagliardi was during his long tenure as the head football coach at St. John's. Hired in 1953, Gagliardi went 6-2 in his first season and led the Johnnies to a MIAC championship. It would be the first of 27 conference championships for St. John's under Gagliardi. He turned the program into a powerhouse, winning 4 national titles, the 1963 and 1965 NAIA championship, and the 1976 and 2003 NCAA division title. In 2003, he became the winningest coach in college football history with his 409th career win. He announced his retirement in 2012, shortly after his 86th birthday.
So please welcome Willard Eicela, and representing the Gagliardi family, John's son, Jim Gagliardi. Over here. Hi. How are you? Nice to meet you, Mom Leah.
Congratulations to both of you. Jimmy, we'll start with you. You not only are John's son, but you had the ability to look at him from, you were a player for him, you also coached with him for a number of years. What made John John?
What made John John was the absolute fear of losing. He hated losing more than anything you can imagine. He had no joy in winning, but he couldn't stand losing.
I remember asking him the day he broke Bear Bryant's record if one win stood out. He said, I don't remember any of the wins, but I can give you every detail of every one that we lost.
He knew every loss. He knew every, he didn't like losing.
Coach Eicela, you, as we just heard, part of 3 state championships as a player way back in the very early years of the state high school hockey tournament. And then you were back there to win 8 times as a coach with Edina. You've seen Minnesota high school hockey almost literally from its start. What do you think about when you reflect back on all those years?
Oh, it was just great. Like in Nebeth, coming down to St. Paul to stay in a hotel and eat in a restaurant, that was something different. We never got down to St. Paul except for an athletic trip. But as far as the coaching, Edina kids were just as hungry as we were. We had great parents, just a great feeder system that fed into the high school, and we took the cream off the top, so to speak, and came up with some pretty good teams.
Coach Eichela, we know the impact that you've had on so many young people's lives, but what would you say is the #1 impact all those young people had on your life?
Well, they're hard workers. They're very motivated. You as a coach just got to direct them in the right way. Make them work. Make them back check and forecheck and play the game of hockey the way it should be played. And that's to stay out of the penalty box. I was a goaltender, so I didn't like penalties, and I didn't like to get shot at when they had penalties. So we got to teach them to play good, fast hockey and pass the puck.
Jim, we heard earlier as we were talking to some of the Twins players about a unique approach taken by some of the Twins management and the coaching staff this year, a willingness to look at things differently. All I could think about as I was listening to them was John Ghilardi couldn't have done things any more differently than anybody in the history of football, and succeeded at an unbelievable level because of it.
He did. He learned football from really no one. He became a head football coach, a high school coach at age 16. His head coach went off to war. He was the captain of the team. They kind of anointed him coach, and he knew he couldn't make his guys run and do all the crazy things he could do, and he liked water, so he let them have water breaks, and it was just kind of his thing. So he really reinvented coaching football in a different way because he didn't know it any other way.
When you reflect back on your days, it will start as a player. State champions, NCAA champions, silver medal in the Olympics. What meant the most to you?
Well, winning a state high school hockey tournament. In fact, we had 2 kids, Billy Nyrop and David Maley. They both played with Montreal. They both won the Stanley Cup. And I heard interviews of both of those players, and they were asked, what is your greatest thrill in hockey? You think they would say that winning the Stanley Cup. But no, they said winning the Minnesota High School Hockey Championship was their biggest.
There you go.
Well, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a seat over here. Ladies and gentlemen, our Hall of Fame coach inductees.
I think I can get up here. No, it's not.
Our next inductees share something in common, wearing purple on the gridiron for Minnesota. Beyond that, they each carved out amazing football careers with unique talents and strengths and are all members of the Vikings Ring of Honor. Let's take a look at the profiles of Vikings defensive tackle John Randall, offensive lineman Randall McDaniel, and wide receiver Randy Moss.
One of the top pass rushers in NFL history, John Randall always found a way to beat the odds. Playing college football at small Texas A&I, Randall wasn't a big name for NFL scouts and went undrafted in 1990. He signed with the Vikings as an undrafted rookie and started to prove his worth from day one. He would become one of the most dominant defensive linemen in NFL history, finishing his career with 137.5 sacks. He led the Vikings in sacks 9 times and was elected to 7 Pro Bowls. He was named to the NFL All-Decade Team for the 90s and was just recently named to the NFL's All-Time Team. Selected with the 19th overall pick in the 1988 NFL Draft, Randall McDaniel would become one of the greatest draft picks in the history of the Minnesota Vikings. A dominant offensive lineman, McDaniel became the anchor of the Vikings offensive line for over a decade. The guard started 202 straight games throughout his career and went on to be named to 12 consecutive Pro Bowls. During his career, McDaniel blocked for 6 different 1,000-yard rushers and 5 3,000-yard passers. He was named to the NFL's All-Decade Team of the 1990s, and in 2009 was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A once-in-a-generation type of talent, Randy Moss broke onto the NFL stage as a highlight machine with the Minnesota Vikings in 1998. He caught 17 touchdown passes that season, the most ever by a rookie, and was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Moss dominated defenses for 14 NFL seasons, 8 of which were in Minnesota, and was named a Pro Bowl selection 6 times. He finished his career with 982 receptions for 15,292 yards and 156 touchdowns. His career receiving yards and career touchdowns ranked 3rd and 4th respectively in the NFL record book when he retired. Moss was named to the NFL's All-Decade Team for the 2000s, and in 2018, he was named to the NFL Hall of Fame.
Please welcome John Randall and Randall McDaniel. You can go right in here.
As you can see, we're missing one of the Vikings inductees. Unfortunately, Randy Moss couldn't be here tonight, but he shared this short message with us.
I want to thank the Star Tribune for inducting me into the Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame. I want to send a shout out to all the fans, and I want to send a shout out to all my classmates inducted in with me. Thank you.
All right. Well, John, let's start with you. I know that you were kind of one of the smaller guys back in the day, right? And there wasn't a lot of people who believed that you could reach the heights that you reached. Where did you find the strength and the courage to know that you could be one of the best?
Well, I believe that I was meant to play football. I kind of believed it all my whole life. And it was coming to Minnesota, I saw you had three defensive linemen that were about 6'1". You had Henry Thomas, you had Al Noga, and you had a backup named Kenny Clark, and they're all about 6'1". And so I believed leaving Texas when it was like palm trees and about 90-degree weather, and coming here to Minnesota where it was like 30 below and it was snow on the ground, that this was the place that I was supposed to be at. And it all worked out. You know, I came to a place that was so cold, but it had so many people with warm hearts, and I'm glad I found it.
I heard a story once that said that they told you weren't big enough to play. Did you really have to carry extra weight on you to step on a scale and get them to sign you?
Yeah, back in 1990, they really didn't check you when you were getting on the scale. So I was talking to my roommate, his name was William Kursky, and we had some time to kill the day before, so we went to a Ace Hardware store, and I bought this chain, put it on, put some sweats on, hopped on the scale because I was 240 and I needed to get to 250. So I hopped on the scale and I was like 251 or something like that. And got off the scale and they're looking at me going, where is it at? I'm like, it's in my heart, it's in my heart. But yeah.
That's awesome. Randall, with you, there was more people believing that you could play at the highest level as you were coming through your career, but was there someone specifically that really guided you or gave you that mentorship that helped you get to where you got?
I would say, yeah, there was a few, but I could say my college line coach when I got to him, but it all goes back to Mr. Fulton. OK Fulton was my high school athletic director, assistant principal, and he was the guy that mentored me from 8th grade on. So I used to be kind of a bully. I used to fight all the time, and as Johnny said, that competition where I wasn't going to lose. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Fulton was the one that came to me and said, hey, I want to get to know the young man, not the athlete. And he basically said he was going to follow me around from that point on, and he showed up everywhere. But he was the one that told me that football could take me places, get me out of the small town that I was in, and give me an opportunity to get a college degree. And there it was. So when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, that was my presenter, Mr. Fulton. So yeah, that was my.
That's amazing. You have to have someone to help bring you along, right?
Someone has to do it, and he was the man that did it. But yeah, I'm sitting here laughing about his weights, and I'm like, God, no. And my wife knows why I'm laughing because they told me I was too small when I came to the NFL, and I used to weigh in for 4 years with pennies in my short to be over 270. And I'm like, I didn't go to the chain.
Yeah. Hey, I had to. I mean,
chain would have stood out.
Dude, I needed something because I was too small, and I was like, I knew I was supposed to make the team, but they told me that I just didn't have the size, and so I'm like, I can find the size somewhere. I can find it.
You were both a part of an era of Vikings football where fans almost just took for granted the Vikings are going to be in it at the end. They're going to be in the playoffs. You were a part of a dominant decade. What stands out most to you when you look back at that era? There were some years where the Vikings were absolutely dominant in their division.
Oh my God. For me, I think it was the camaraderie that we had. That locker room was like a neighborhood. You come in there and I mean, I grew up watching The Young and the Restless. So I like soap operas, all right?
Okay.
So coming in that locker room every day, somebody had a story to tell you about something. And so I got there at 6 a.m., didn't leave at like 6 p.m. because I was working out, but somebody had a story to tell you. And the football was just so unusual. It was fun. But the biggest thing I said I can take from it was the fans. Because for me, the game was about the fans. Because, I mean, here we're talking about the Purple People Eaters. And I knew, I wanted to play like Alan Page. I wanted to be the next Alan Page. And sometimes I didn't feel like it because I was tired. But when you came into the Metrodome, man, it was just like ecstatic. And so, but for me, I always remember the fans because we had fans starting to wear face paint and wear weight belts and all sorts of things.
Championship.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I came into a group, it was all veteran linemen, Zimmerman, Irwin, Loudermilk. They basically told me, you need to do it as good, you do it our way until you can do it better. And that mentality was that, coming in there, trying to get as good as Zim, who was offensive lineman of the year when I came in, and I'm thinking, I gotta do it your way or better. Yeah, that's not gonna be. But yeah, and then like you said, Johnny's talking about how the locker room was in that year, how those guys were. I mean, the linemen, we had our little section over in the thing, and no one was supposed to come in unless we gave them permission. we kind of had fun in that locker room.
Sounds like it.
And we were the ones that, came out and controlled things. We had a lot of fun playing jokes on everybody in that locker room, and just make sure you hid your keys before you.
Oh my God!
Practice. Yeah,
hide your keys.
But that group of guys, that mentality. We never got yours.
No, you didn't get mine because I didn't leave my keys in there.
They were on a chain.
Yeah.
Right,
weighing it down. But no, that mentality of that group that we played with, you learned from those guys. You didn't want to let the guy down next to you.
Yeah.
I mean, and we were all that group. We all thought the same. We all hung out. We ate dinner. We did stuff together. And even if the coach chewed us out so badly one day, we all still showed up for dinner that night with him, and we, did the. You know you were wrong. Yeah, I know that. But it was just that group, that gang, that guys. Those are your brothers you were playing next to.
Well, guys, congratulations. Yeah. Let's hear it for our Vikings contingent into this year's Hall of Fame: John Randall, Randall McDaniel, and Randy Moss.
Thank you.
All right, our final inductee is still adding to the legacy of her sports career, although in a new role. She was an all-state high school player at Hutchinson, helped lift the Gopher women's basketball program to national prominence, and returned home to win 4 WNBA titles with the Minnesota Lynx. Let's look at the profile of Lindsay Whalen.
After standout careers at Hutchinson High School and the University of Minnesota, and a dominant 15-year career in the WNBA, Lindsay Whalen will be remembered as one of the top players in Minnesota basketball history. After a standout prep career at Hutchinson, Whalen became a local star at the University of Minnesota. She earned first-team All-Big Ten honors 3 times and first-team All-American honors twice, as she led the Gophers to 3 NCAA tournament appearances. Among those 3 appearances was the Gophers' first ever berth in the Final Four in 2004. After being drafted with the 4th pick of the 2004 WNBA draft by the Connecticut Sun, Whalen spent 6 standout seasons out east before being traded back home to the Lynx in 2010. For the next 9 seasons, Whalen helped Minnesota win 4 WNBA championships. After her playing career, she became the head women's basketball coach at the University of Minnesota.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lindsay Whalen.
There she is. Hi, girl. Good to see you. Yes. Oh, congratulations, Lindsay, on this amazing induction with this fine group of people. First, we want to just ask you, what does it feel like, because you're coaching right now, so your legacy continues on, but do you ever just kind of stop to think about what you've done in the past on the hardwood?
Yeah, every morning and every night before I go to sleep, I, just
go over the
sit
career.
back and think about it, and yeah,
That's what I thought.
No, that's why nights like this are special. It's been fun. It's been a lot of years. I'm glad to keep getting invited back. People aren't too sick of me yet. From Gophers and Lynx, and now back to the Gophers. So it's good to be invited back and to be part of this great Hall of Fame group. So just want to continue to do whatever I can to elevate, our state and our programs and everything I can to continue to be successful.
One of the things that always separated you as a player was your competitiveness. Is that the same? Is it any different when you're a coach instead of a player?
No, you want to win every game. You want to win every time you step out there. You want to win every game, and now it's just from a little different perspective, and now it's just giving the players that opportunity and that confidence to go out there and do that. But that's always why I wanted to play, was just to compete and to have fun and to be with your teammates, and now it's from a little different, like I said, different perspective, but it's still that competitiveness and still that fun that really drives you.
Well, the first time I saw you at a practice over at the Gophers, I just wanted to see how it looked, and I was like, oh, it just looks so natural, you standing out there coaching.
Good.
Yep,
Yeah,
it looked
good,
right,
good.
Lindsay.
Happy to hear that.
So give me one thing, just one little tip that you learned from your head coach, Cheryl Reeve, a little coaching piece that maybe she gave you.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just think it's it's the journey, it's the everyday, it's the people, it's how you, just come in and you're ready for every day, every game. But yeah, just to enjoy that time. You never wish a day away. You enjoy everything you have, and you try to just enjoy those times, because there's so many ups and downs. There's wins, there's losses, but it's about the people, and it's about the relationships that you start to have with your players and staff and everything. So as long as you have that as first and foremost, you're usually it's usually a successful season. So that was probably the main thing I learned.
Let me just ask you this as well, because when you're such a great player and then you become the coach and then you're looking at players, you might not ever have a Lindsay Whalen come through your program. You might not. But what is it like sometimes, because you are so great, do you expect them to play at a higher level because of what you put out on the court?
Well, I couldn't play defense or shoot that well, so I made my way, and I kind of just hit a lot of those weaknesses throughout,
Right.
No defense, no shooting. So now I recruit players that can play defense and shoot, and so I know everybody who walks in the locker room every day is already better at those two things than me. So for me, it's really easy to coach players that can do those things already so effectively, and now I just get to sit back and watch, which is really the most fun part, is just to sit back there and I just drink my waters and have my little mints, and then I just try as well as I can to not screw it up and let them go do their thing, which is really, really my favorite part.
Simple as that, okay.
Seems like anybody could do that.
Well,
You've been able to achieve this in your home state.
Yes.
To be able to
This is where I'm from,
play
yes.
for your home college, the University of Minnesota, and go to a Final Four. To be able to
Yes.
come back and play for the Minnesota Lynx and win a championship. Not very many people get that opportunity in their home
I'm
community.
the only one.
And I know you struggle with shyness. How do you recruit?
Well, like I said, defense and shooting, and then you throw in some rebounders and you have a perfect player. And so, that's what you have to do. You go out there and you find everything that I couldn't do. You recruit that and then you coach it to the best of your ability. We always want players who are going to represent this state and this program in the highest regard. And so, we're constantly working, and that's the lifeblood of your program. And we want great people first, and that's always first and foremost. So we're working every day for that. And like I said, as long as we rebound, as long as we recruit rebounders, shooters, defenders better than me, we'll be just fine.
All right. Well, Lindsay Whalen, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats.
Now you stay up here, Lindsay.
Yep.
Everyone
we bring
will
all
come
the Hall of
this way.
Famers back over.
We're going to bring you guys over here. Do a picture right here. So Lindsay, you move this way. I'm going to get you in this area. Give you this very heavy
Just want to bring all you guys right over here.
board. We'll drop that one. So ladies and gentlemen, this is perfect. We present to you the 2019 class of the Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame.
Up the 2019 Minnesota Sports Awards presented by Sports Minneapolis. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a great night.
Yeah, it really has. We appreciate all of you coming out for the whole night, enjoying this night of all these great athletes and coaches and the Courage Awards. So we look forward to seeing everybody next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.